everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Daria, and today's practice is called Ignite Your Hearts. In this class, we'll be continuing with our backbending theme for the month, and we'll be working progressively toward camel pose. So you'll just need yourself a space to move, and if you have it, a yoga block. And when you're ready, let's go ahead and get into it. We'll get started from a kneeling position. So find your way here, resting your sitting bones onto your heels. If this is not comfortable for you, you can always sit flat in Sukhasana, or you could place a block underneath of your pelvis here for a little more support. Bring your palms onto your thighs, resting either face down or face up, and allow your eyes to softly fall closed. As they do, begin to shift your awareness inside of your physical body, coming away from anything that's going on in your day so far or anything that's happening later. Begin to become immersed in this moment. Start to observe any sounds that you can hear. Noticing ones that are close by and obvious, as well as those that are further away and quieter. Observe the temperature of the air on your skin, the feeling of what's connected to the earth pressing down. Noticing any smells that surround you. And start to feel into the movement of your breathing. Taking your next inhalation a little bit deeper than the one before it, so you can fill all the way up to the surface of your collarbones. Let your exhalation be a chance to rinse something out. You can take open mouth exhalations for these first few rounds if you'd like. Maybe a big sigh. When you're ready, start to fade in Ujjayi Pranayama, breathing in and out through your nose, constricting slightly at the back of your throat. And imagine you're trying to fog up a mirror with your breath, even as you keep your lips sealed, so you can start to create that ocean wave sound. Follow the pathway of your breath in deeper to your experience. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Draw your palms to meet in prayer at heart center. And here, begin to consider what you would like to ignite in your heart space. We'll be working through physical postures and heart opening exercises, but ask a little bit deeper than that, a little bit beyond the physical. What would you like to ignite from this center of love? And this could be more like self-love focused. Maybe you're opening yourself up to receiving love. Whatever you land on, let this be your intention and let this guide you as we begin to move. Take a full inhale breath and a full exhale breath. Begin to blink your eyes open and soften your palms down beside you. Next breath in, stretch your arms wide and all the way up to the sky. Turn your gaze to follow the palms as they touch. As you exhale, bend your elbows and connect the thumb side of your hands to the base of your skull. Wrap your elbows in toward one another, close in through your rib cage, and then gently press head and hands into one another, feeling the activation into the back of your neck. As you breathe here, maybe begin to tilt your heart gently up toward the sky by engaging your shoulder blades toward one another. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Breathe in, reach your fingertips all the way up high. As you breathe out, send your left fingertips down beside you and slightly back in space. Grow tall through the tips of your right fingers. And on your next exhale breath, take a little arc up and back. Hug your inner thighs toward one another. It doesn't need to be anything super intense or deep here, just feeling a nice stretch running up along the right side of your body. One more breath. Inhale, press into your toenails, rise back up to a tall spine and fingertips high. As you exhale, right fingertips down beside you, crawl them slightly back. Then grow long from your left sitting bone all the way up through those fingers. And on your exhalation, begin to take a little arc up and back. Feel a squeezing in through the lines of your waist, as though you're pulling drawstring pants tighter. Deep breaths here. Next breath in, press down, rise up to center, fingertips high to the sky. As you exhale, draw your palms through prayer and then come forward into tabletop position. Onto hands and knees, spread fingers and dig down into the pads of all your fingers. Take a breath in, soften your belly, tilt your pelvis up so your sitting bones reach skyward. Begin to look forward with your heart and lift your gaze. Just feel into the expansion of your front body, your belly, your heart here for a couple moments. And take one more full breath in. As you breathe out, start to tuck your pelvis, getting hollow through your core, rounding your spine and spreading the breath in between your vertebrae. So it's like you're expanding your back body as much as possible. Next breath in, belly gets soft, tailbone rises up, hands and knees isometrically traction toward one another as your heart goes forward and your eyes lift. As you exhale, press down, hollow core, really compress and contract there so that your spine can expand. Take a few more rounds of cat-cows, now riding your own breath rhythm, inhaling to find your arch and exhaling to find your round. Noticing the articulations of the spine, going one vertebra at a time. And start to find your way back to a center point, neutral spine, and then crawl your fingertips forward toward the top of your mat to move into Anahatasana, puppy pose. Reaching either forehead to the mat or chest and shin. Or if you'd like, you can slide a block under your heart space for a little bit more support. If you need to separate your hands a bit wider to really broaden the upper back, you could try that if things are feeling compressed in that area. Breathe to your belly. Let your thigh bones root you downward. And then even in any intensity that you find here, ask what you can soften and relax. One more breath. Begin to press into your palms. Lift your heart and walk your hands back in space until they're aligned underneath of your shoulders. Tuck your toes behind you. Take a breath in here. As you breathe out, lift your knees and send your hips all the way up and back to find our first downward facing dog. Take any wiggles, any movements or adjustments that your body is calling for. Turn your awareness inwardly and listen to the feedback that you're getting in real time from your body. When you're ready, you can start to get steady. Spread the balls of your feet and your toes, palms of hands and fingers, and then dig into all of those points of connection with the earth. Widen your shoulder blades so they're wrapping around the lateral sides of your body like wings. Hug in through the front of your rib cage and gently drive your heart back towards your thighs. Just beginning to wake things up, open things up, breathing along the line of your spine. One more full breath in. Full breath out. As you inhale, lift your heels, round your spine, and come forward into high plank position. As you exhale, bend your elbows and lower halfway, chaturanga. Then sink your pelvis, untuck your toes, bring your chest and your chin down. With your next breath in, dig your toenails down, float your heart, and hover your hands a little away from the earth. Breathing here into the strength of your back body. Maybe seeing if you can reach your heart a little more forward and then lift it higher. Take a breath in. Breathe out. Palms come down by your ribs. Tuck your toes. Move your pelvis all the way back to hover off of your heels, but keep reaching your heart forward. Active child's pose. Breathe in, rounding your spine. Come forward through the hands and knees. As you breathe out, lift your knees and send your hips to the sky. Downward facing dog. Take a full breath in. Full breath out. 2 more rounds here. Steady, symmetrical, silky ujjayi breath. Next inhalation, heels float. Round your spine, come forward, high plank. As you exhale, chaturanga, you could come down just halfway, or if you want to, come all the way down onto your belly through that push-up. With your next breath in, untuck your toes, float your heart, float your hands, and then this time, float your feet and your thighs away from the ground as well. Squeeze in toward the midline, like your inner thighs are being hugged toward one another. And then stretch longer. Someone's pulling your toes back, but a string is reaching your heart forward. Take a breath in. Breathing out, active child's pose. Hips back towards your heels. Heart reaches forward. Breathe in, round your spine. Come through hands and knees. As you breathe out, hips to the sky, downward facing dog. 3 full breaths. Last breath here, micro bend your knees. Tilt your sitting bones up and back. Feel the space in your low back. Breathe in, heels rise, rounding your spine, come forward, high plank. As you breathe out, lower all the way down onto your belly. This time, inhale, press down, rise up into high cobra. Elbows could stay micro bent, or maybe drive your arms more towards straight. Hug the heads of your shoulders, back, and then down. Shoulder blades are squeezing. Feel the lift of your low belly, the very low core muscles, all the way down to the pelvic floor. And then glide your sternum forward and up. Take a breath in. Breathing out, active child's pose, hips back, heart towards your thumbs, gaze towards your thumbs. Inhale, round your spine, hands and knees. And exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Feeling into your own breath rhythm. Inhale, lift your heels, round your spine, come forward, high plank. As you exhale, glide your hips up, back, and toward the right side of your mat. Turn your heels to the right, and then bend your knees as you gaze forward. So it's like a twisted down dog. Maybe seeing if you can press your right heel all the way down. Keep your left heel lifted, and drag your outer left hip back to stack on your right one. Feel the squeeze, the cinch of your right side. Stay here, or with your next inhale breath, start to cactus your left elbow skyward. Last breath here. Circle left fingertips all the way overhead. Feel the big stretch along your left side body. Inhale. Exhale. Use your core to revolve back into downward facing dog. Inhale, heels rise, liquid spine, rounding forward, high plank. Exhale, hips up, back, and this time toward the left. Turn your heels left, bend your knees, move your shoulders back. So they're not stacked over the wrist, it's like a diagonal line. Carving down into your left heel, right heel stays up.
Outer right hip drags back. Now stay or claw down into left fingertips and left toes. And with your next breath in, squeeze your shoulder blades onto the back of your heart and cactus your right elbow. Can you lift your hips a little higher? Turn your eyes up and circle right arm forward overhead. Take a full breath in. On your exhale breath, revolve into downward facing dog, hips to the sky. Next inhalation, eyes turn forward to the top of your mat. As you exhale, slowly travel there, one foot in front of the other to land, feet about hips distance apart, and then bow forward, drape your chest over your thighs. Create a bend in your knees. Let your head hang really, really heavy. And then bring your fingers to interlace at the base of your spine. With your next breath in, find a mini halfway lift. So tailbone is going back, crown of head is moving forward. As you exhale, plug your big toes down, keep the little bend in your knees, and just dive your heart in the direction of the earth. As your fists move up toward the sky, maybe overhead like they're reaching toward the top of your mat. Breathe space into your heart. Begin to release your grip. Allow your arms to float down. With your next inhale breath, find a halfway lift. Send your sitting bones back. Grow long through every single vertebra, all the way out through the crown of your head. And then as you exhale, release back down, forward fold. Let's do 2 more of those. Inhale, halfway lift. Elongate as though you're ironing out through your spine. Exhale, fold. Last one. Breathe in, lengthen, halfway, pull up your thighs, squeeze in through your belly, and exhale, bow. Dig big toes down. Slowly, slowly round your spine, coming up to standing 1 vertebra at a time. Let your arms stay heavy, head is heavy, all the way up to the top. And then when your head finally does rise to stack, soften your shoulders down away from your ears. With your next breath in, bend your knees and sink your hips far back in space. Begin to float your fingertips up to the sky to find chair. As you breathe out, sink in a little deeper. Shift your weight back toward your heels. Breathe in. Send your pelvis further back in space. Cinch through your waistlines and reach the back of your heart forward as you cactus your elbows. As you breathe out, curl your tailbone underneath of you. Hug in through low core, middle core, and heart space. And then reach your fingertips forward, getting rounded. Still a little bend in the knees here. So we're making waves in chair. Inhale, hips back, cinch the waistline, lift your heart, and cactus your elbows. And as you exhale, round and curl. Sitting bones wrap underneath of you to initiate the round. One more time. Breathe in, arch into chair. Elbows cactus. Exhale, round. Breathe in. Press down and rise all the way up to standing, fingertips high. As you breathe out, bring your hands around to the base of your spine. Fingertips could point down or up, whatever feels the best for you. Really press hands and sacrum into one another. Dig your feet down. Grow super tall through your spine as you breathe in. As you breathe out, start to rock your pelvis just a little bit forward, using the press of your hands to do so. And tip your heart up toward the sky. It might just be a little bit of a lift. Maybe beginning to lean slightly back, only going as deep as feels sweet and supported and expansive for you. Feel your tailbone reaching toward the earth. Feel your pubic bone lifting toward your sternum. Take 1 more breath in. And as you breathe out, use your core to rise back up. Inhale, fingertips to the sky. Exhale, dive down, forward fold, Uttanasana. Next breath in, halfway lift. As you exhale, fingertips down for support. Left foot to the back of your mat. Left knee lands. Breathe in, hug your feet toward one another and float your fingers to the sky, kneeling warrior. Breathe out, palms pressed together, bend your elbows and place your thumbs to the space where head and neck connect. Press backward with your head onto your hands. Wrap your elbows forward and then allow your pelvis to sink down and forward here. One more breath in and out. Inhale, stretch your fingertips up to the sky. As you exhale, palms to the mat, softly step back into high plank. Breathe in here and elongate. As you breathe out, come down halfway chaturanga. Inhale, rise. Either upward facing dog, thighs hovering, or cobra, lift your heart. As you exhale, drop your knees down using your core. Glide your hips back in space and then drag your fingertips in front of your knees. So when you inhale, press down and rise up to standing on your shins. Fingertips are floating high. Breathing in. Breathing out, circle your right arm around and back. See if you can catch either for the back of your thigh or your heel. Press your pelvis forward and then lift your left fingertips to the sky. So this is half camel. Take a breath in here, expand your front body. As you breathe out, pivot your fingertips forward through the center and then around, catching left thigh or heel in your hand. Breathing in to open up, right arm to the sky, lean slightly back. Inhale. Exhale, roll through center. Now moving with breath. Inhale, open up to the right. Exhale, coming through center. Imagine you're gripping a block between your inner thighs, or you literally could put one there if you like. Breathing in and breathing out through center. This inner thigh activation helps us to ignite from the pelvic floor all the way up, so we can actually expand the low back space and the back bending will feel sweeter. One more time to the left. Inhale, exhale, center. Breathe in, fingertips, all 10 of them reaching high to the sky. As you breathe out, dive your hands down and forward. Let's find Anahatasana, puppy pose. Take a full breath in, full breath out. Maybe you have more space here than when we first began. Notice that. One more inhale. One more exhale. Inhale, press into your palms. Tuck your pelvis, round your spine, moving all the way forward into Cobra. Lift from your heart forward. As you exhale, you can walk your hands back in space if needed. Find your way back into downward facing dog, sending the hips to the sky. Full breath in. Full breath out. Inhale, turn your gaze forward. Exhale, travel to a fold at the top of your mat. Breathing in, find halfway lift. Breathing out, bow down. Inhale, chair, bend your knees, sink your hips back and float your fingers to the sky. Exhale, sit a little deeper into your chair. Breathe in, pelvis rocks back, waist hugs in, elbows cactus, heart lifts. Breathe out, round and curl through your spine. How fluid can you make these waves? Inhale, arched back chair. Exhale, rounded spine. One more time, breathing in and breathing out. Inhale, press down, rise all the way up to standing tall, gaze up. As you exhale, hands circle down to the base of your spine, fingertips down or up. Breathe in, micro bend your knees. See how tall you can grow through your entire spine and torso. Then as you breathe out, begin to press your pelvis forward. Tip your heart up in space, leaning back any amount. Focus more on the feeling of igniting your heart. Instead of like how deep you're backbending, it doesn't really matter. Feeling that brightness across the chest. Take one more breath in. And as you breathe out, gently rising back up. Inhale to stretch the arms wide and overhead. As you exhale, dive down, forward fold. Breathe in, halfway lift. Breathe out, pick up your right foot and step it to the back of your space, toes, and then knee land. Inhale, pull your feet toward one another and float your fingers to the sky. Exhale, press palms together, bend at your elbows, and bring the thumb side of your hands to the base of your skull. Let your body soften in here. Notice the expansion of the front of your right hip, getting into the hip flexor area by lifting into the low core. Press your head a little bit more back into your hands. One more breath here. Inhale. Good. Exhale, release. Palms down. Lift your back knee and softly step to plank. Inhale here, grow your plank longer. Exhale, chaturanga. Breathe in, upward facing dog. Inflate through the front body. As you exhale, use your core to softly lower your knees, glide your pelvis back, and draw your fingertips in front of your knees. Breathe in, tuck your tail, rounding or waving all the way up through your spine to rise, standing on the shins. As you exhale, half camel, left fingertips circle around and back, catch your heel or your thigh, and expand, right arm up. Inhale. Exhale, roll through center. Inhale, right side, open it up. Exhale, come through center. Really feel the press of your shins to the earth. Inhale, rise. Exhale. Last one. Breathe in, opening up to the right. And breathing out to wave through center. Inhale, fingertips to the sky. As you exhale, slide your hands down and forward to the top of your mat. Anahatasana. Option to stay here, or if you like, you can play with tucking your toes and try to lift your knees away from the ground. So maybe walk the knees a little back in space first. And then let your heart sink. Couple breaths. If you chose to lift the knees, you can softly land them back down. Start to lift your heart just a little bit. Walk your hands slightly back in space. And then with your next inhale breath, tuck your pelvis rounding forward and come all the way open into Cobra. As you breathe in here, imagine the back of your ribcage is being pulled forward. As you breathe out, travel back into downward facing dog, hips to the sky. Take a full breath in. And a sigh out of your mouth. One more breath in. Big sigh out. Lift your heels and gently lower your knees all the way down to the mat. Now here is where we'll use a block. So find your block if you have one, and we'll place it in between the inner thighs. If you don't have a block and you want to use a pillow or just something that you can squeeze, that's the activation that we're looking to find. Setting up for camel, coming up to standing on the shins. Start with your toes tucked for our first round here. Place your hands onto your low back. Fingertips could point down or up. Prioritize squeezing your upper arm bones and shoulder blades together. So wherever you're best able to access those actions is where I would recommend being. See if you can press the heels of your hands onto your low back space, but then press your low back space back into your hands just a little. Grip the block. Draw up from your pubic bone all the way to your sternum. Just take a couple of breaths, emphasizing that lift. So it's like you're literally growing taller all the way out through the crown of your head. Gently begin to press your pelvis forward. As you do this, keep that lift into your front body. Maybe beginning to arc your heart up toward the sky. And you could stay right here. If you'd like, keep rocking the hips forward, keep lifting through your low core. Maybe start to place one hand to a heel and then the other. From here, maybe starting to energetically lift at the back of your heart. Imagine there's like a bunch of balloons floating under your back of heart to lift you. And maybe start to tip your head back. Just take a couple more breaths here. Feel the light of your heart glowing up toward the sky. When you're ready, place your hands back to your low back if they're not there. Rock your pelvis back in space. Keep your head back if it was, all the way until you sit your hips down onto your heels. You can release your block. Bring your palms facing up on your thighs. Let your eyes fall closed. Notice your breath. Notice what arises for you in this backbending shape. If there are any feelings of discomfort or resistance, can you go into them just a little bit? Especially if it's around like the outcome of the pose, being attached to getting to a certain level or a certain like aesthetic. What happens if you could release that and go more into the feeling? And if there's ever like pain beyond discomfort, back out and see how you can set up in a way that feels more lengthened through the spine. When we think about back bending, sometimes it's maybe natural to think about compressing the spine, but we want to try to do the opposite, especially in that low back space. Thinking about the tailbone reaching toward the earth, growing long, 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 and then the tilting of the heart back, supported by the back body. Shoulder blades like a shelf. Okay, take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And we'll set up to go again. So find your way back up to standing on your shins. You can have toes tucked or untucked. If the block is helpful for you, draw it back in between your inner thighs, or you could try without, but finding that action, that inner squeeze of the thighs. Place your hands onto your low back, fingertips down or up. Start to engage toward the midline, and then like you're zipping your low core all the way up toward your chest. Start to press your pelvis a little bit forward. Imagine that your heart's a balloon. It's being inflated by every inhale breath that you take, growing taller, taller, taller. Then maybe starting to arc back. Feel the support of your shoulder blades. Keep lifting your low belly. Energize your glutes in a downward direction, and then play with circling your hands around and back. See if you can catch for your heels. Every breath creating more space in your front body. Maybe beginning to tilt your head all the way back to be caught in the shoulder girdle. As you're ready, hands to low back. Press those points into one another to slowly sit your hips all the way back onto your heels. And bring your head to stack, palms to the thighs, soften or close your eyes. Take a few moments here, letting that go. Imagine that the space of your heart is glowing and emitting a warm light. Breathing deeper, allow the light of your heart to grow brighter. You can blink your eyes open or keep them closed. With your next inhale breath, stretch your arms wide and all the way up to the sky. As you exhale, place your right hand to your outer left knee. Left fingertips can touch the ground behind you, or you could place them onto your sacrum. Breathing in, sit really tall. Breathe out, create a gentle twist, feeling the base of your right rib cage is the point that initiates the twist. Letting it revolve all the way up across the collarbones. Maybe turn your gaze back, or you could tilt your left ear towards your left shoulder to stretch the side of the neck. Next breath in, slowly, gently unwind. Reach all 10 fingertips to the sky. As you exhale, left hand to outer right knee or thigh, right hand to the ground or your low back. Grow the line of your spine tall. Breathe in. Breathe out. Press your toenails down and pivot your whole rib cage toward the right. Option, eyes can look back, or right ear tilts toward right shoulder. Next breath in, gently unwind. Float your fingertips high to the sky. As you exhale, palms through prayer, plant your fingertips down in front of you and then tuck your toes behind you. You can widen your feet a little bit. We're going to move into a squat. So rooting your heels down, or you could keep them lifted, whatever's available in your body. We're going to round with this squat. So walk your fingertips forward, suction your front body towards your back body, and curl your chin down toward your chest. And as you breathe here, feel the pelvis dropping. Feel the creases of your hips softening and deepening. And spread your breath all throughout your back body. And begin to turn your gaze forward. Walk your hands forward, and we'll find our way back into a downward facing dog, hips to the sky. Next breath in, lift your heels, round your spine, and come forward into a high plank. As you exhale, make a wave through your spine to go all the way back into downward facing dog. We'll do a couple more of these. Inhale, round the spine forward. Exhale, tip of the tailbone lifts you all the way up and back to down dog. One more. Breathe in, round. And breathe out, gliding back. Lift your heels. Place your knees back to the earth. You could take them wide or together. Big toes touch. Sitting bones to heels. Crawl your fingertips out to find child's pose. Forehead could rest to the mat or a block. Maybe if there's space, chest and chin come down. Observe how much gravity you can receive through all your muscles and all of your bones. And let yourself get melted and softer and cozier here every moment that you stay. Relax the hands. Relax your feet. Let your breath shift to a more natural state. So there's no more controlling or trying to enforce a technique. Keep the depth to your breath. But just let it all relax. Let's take 5 more rounds here. Expand your belly as you breathe in. Soften that space as you breathe out. One more round. Begin to press down. Lift your head. Crawl your fingertips back in space. And we'll close our practice just the way we began. Sitting back onto the heels. Knees are down, or you can go to Sukhasana if that feels better for you. And then draw your palms to stack over your heart space, feeling your own touch. Soften or close your eyes. Breathing to enhance the glow of the light of your heart. Notice what you were able to ignite in this practice, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And see how you can carry the effects of this practice, the discoveries or the lessons from this class forward into the rest of your day. Take an inhalation, lift your heart. As you exhale, bow your chin towards your chest.
Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me today. You are, of course, always welcome and encouraged to move into Shavasana from here if you have a little more time to rest. But I hope that you enjoyed this heart's expansive and igniting practice. If you have any questions, comments, or thoughts, feel free to leave them for me below. I love to hear from you. And if you're not already a subscriber to my channel, you can do that below as well. You can also join as a monthly donation member. All of this really helps to support me. Have a great rest of your day or night. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Bye.